Let's take a look at some information and charts on Polkadot for BraveNewCoin. So Dot is a new kid on the block, or one of the new kids on the block, that promises everything and more on their website here. They sure do give you plenty of use cases that pretty much boil down to everything on any network that you see and hear about. So to me, it's more important to look at what we can do with Dot, what's been going on with Dot since last month. First, I got to talk about the hybrid proof of work, or not hybrid proof of work, just hybrid consensus that they use. Some of it is proof of stake like. It's called Babe and Grandpa. They do have validators. They do have a staking component. And for a lot of people, that's good enough. And if those rewards are better than you can get anywhere else, if they're better than stablecoins, people will participate in a big way. And those numbers are very generous for Polkadot. Here's a list of the validators. What I don't like here is that I don't know who these validators are. I don't know if they are all exchanges. I don't know if they're all in China. I don't know if they're all in the US. I don't know if they're all venture capital. This one is listed who it is, but some people may prefer to remain anonymous. That's fine. But as far as a validator, I feel like people should know who they are. We should know how many of these are Polkadot or whatever, and maybe that information is out there and available. I was unable to obtain that information for the video, but that's something to definitely ask for and look for in the future. Who are these people? Who are the big kahunas here getting all this staking reward? As we go down the list, you can see more of these are labeled, so that would probably suggest that these unlabeled addresses are more than likely the Dot people, but I don't know that information offhand. But what you generally want to see for validators is just a wide range of people: Asia, South America, Europe, Russia, China, wherever, right? You want to see just completely decentralized people, ideas, everything, because otherwise you risk having issues down the line. The big thing lately for Polkadot has been parachains, specifically KSM, Kusama. For me, it's just ICOs by another name. I know that's going to get some backlash or some flack in the comments of the Dot community members, but we're talking about basically new coins on a chain, right? To me, that's all this is. Great. We'll see if it has a use case. People are super bullish on it. I understand that. I'm not saying I don't want this thing to succeed. I'm just saying we've probably seen a lot of this before in a different name. Maybe not as governance related as ICOs weren't. Maybe this is all just going to be more governance based, but this reminds me of biology class and enzymes, but they're trying to create a network of networks with the parachains, which is fine. It's cool. It's sort of new. It's fresh. It doesn't need to be worth billions of dollars. I don't know. We'll find out. But that does exist and is happening. They also have PokeSwap. I tried to look deeply for stats on PokeSwap. I couldn't find TVL. I couldn't find anything unless I connect. Maybe TVL's embedded somewhere in here, but all this stuff looks just like any other swap products for ETH, which is good. People are used to this. They know what it looks like. They know what to do. They know what to hit. I would want limit orders if they're on here. I'm not sure. They may be available, but limit orders are always good. But PokeSwap is a platform that does stuff and things in the DeFi ecosystem for Polkadot. Even DeFi Llama, which has literally everything under the sun. I couldn't find Polkadot anything here unless I'm blind. I don't see it in the list. They did have KSM, which only has one thing listed, but it's still early for this stuff. I'm not writing it off. I just wish I had more information to compare against everything else, because that's what we're going to do at the end of the day. If we look at PokeSwap, the token, because of course they have a token, just like UniSwap, which is fine, but call it something else, guys. Don't use the same name. Call it literally anything else, okay? It's bad enough that the Polkadot logo looks like Pinterest to me, okay? Just call it something else. Quit using the same name. And something else that gets my goat is calling something different than the coin name, like Terra Luna. Because then I gotta think, is it Terra? Is it Luna? Which is the network? Which is the token? Anyway, PokeSwap against ETH, just, flat down, complete doom. This is worth watching and looking at along with PokeSwap TVL, wherever that's available. Because much like Tezos and what's happening with Tezos, as TVL and as the narrative shifts and as inevitably NFTs come on this thing, whatever, you're going to see this probably outperform ETH over time. I'm not saying that can happen. I'm just saying right now, this is not a buy. It looks like nothing, right? Wait for TVL to pick up, wait for the incentives to pick up, wait for the narrative to shift, wait for the crowd a little bit to start catching on, unless you want to just hold this thing for a long time, which isn't a bad strategy, at a losing value. There's an opportunity cost here holding Polkaswap versus anything else, right? They also have Ceres, which is another token, I guess. I don't know much about this. It's hard to get exact information about what this stuff is, other than it's a swap platform, I guess, right? Like it's a DEX by the looks of it. They have pairs and farming and APYs. Liquidity's rather small, the TVL rather small. Just sort of early stages for this stuff by the looks of it. But they're getting there. Solana looked similar in the early days. People know what works as far as what people want to do with the gambling side of things, the speculation side of things. They've seen it happen on ETH. They've seen it happen on Solana. They've seen it happen on Tezos now. You can easily replicate that on any chain that has the smart contract capabilities. So they're doing exactly what they should be doing. The developers are doing what they should be doing in the community in creating these products. Are they audited? Are they safe and secure? I don't know, but they exist and people are going to use them. Just like PancakeSwap, right, is another great example of just give the people what they want. They love to gamble on crazy stuff that has no use case, right? That's what this is all about. For Polkadot specifically, looking at some on-chain stats, active accounts continues to increase, a little bit of an S-curve of adoption here. As we get more bullish, probably in Q4, in price, I definitely want to see this pick up in a big way, just continue to increase, right? You always want to see this increasing if you're bullish. You definitely don't want to see it decreasing if you're bullish. Looking at transaction counts, they're kind of subtly flat and rising. It's hard to really understand with that big outlier there, but they're down over the past few weeks, but in general, slowly rising over time, which is good for a newer chain, especially relative to Solana or these other powerhouse layer ones that have emerged in the past few months. And average transaction values just kind of flat, so no real signal there. Looking at NVT, inverse metric of economic utility relative to price, NVT got way up there, right? When price hit, just looking at price right now, around mid-May. So NVT was actually falling during that time. This is one of the reasons why I don't really like NVT. NVT peaked around September 6th, and price recently peaked September 14th. So I guess it was close on the money there, but the all-time high is May 13th, and you're getting a declining NVT here. So I don't know what the signal for NVT is supposed to be. Maybe I'm just misreading it, but I don't see a value here in telling me be careful being long here, be careful being short here. I don't see a value there. Maybe it just needs more time to get a better signal on what's going on. In regards to active addresses in the fill, it is flat and still basically at all-time highs. It's not declining in a big way. So I don't want to sound overly bearish on on-chain stats here because it looks fine to be bullish soon. It's just not bullish right now. If we look at MVRV, a measure of on-chain activity versus price directly, free float market cap versus on-chain realized market cap. In general, for most coins, they top out around a 2x. Much like NVT, I think there's not enough data here to really know what's going on because all-time high in price was April, May, and MVRV was falling that whole time. So maybe there's a bit of a bearish divergence here, you could say. I don't know in hindsight. I don't know if I would trust that as it's happening, but in general, when MVRV peaks for most coins, that's the top in price. So to see price continue for so many months after MVRV peaked just tells me this isn't ready for prime time yet. There's no signal here, right? I wouldn't want to use this in Q4 to figure out where the top in price was because it just doesn't look reliable yet. Doesn't mean it can't be in the future. It just doesn't look reliable right now. And as far as the staking stuff is concerned, the reward is 4%, which is massive compared to Dash or any of the other proof of stake coins. Dot's newer. It has less baggage than these other proof of stake coins. So it's got that going for it. It's slightly different than a lot of other stuff. So it's got that going for it. And this base reward is insanely high when most people don't realize that there's obviously inflation here, but the adjusted reward is excellent, especially relative to stablecoins. Polkadot Google trends worldwide for the cryptocurrency is flat. Everything's kind of the mania euphoria has calmed down quite a bit since all-time highs, which is good if you want to see this thing go for another run for all-time highs this quarter. Flipping gears to technicals here, we have the 5200 EMA along with VPVR, pivots, volume, and RSI. So Polkadot's gone from this cup and handle inverted head and shoulders structure to a head and shoulders structure, EMA crisscrosses, and what at this point is looking like another low time frame failed head and shoulders, shoulder triple top, which is incredibly bullish, and is sitting above the 200-day EMA, above volume stuff. So this looks fine for a push this quarter, honestly. Is it going to be more bullish than BTC or ETH? I don't know. We'll find out. But the USD chart looks fine for 75, 85, maybe beyond that. But I like 70 to 80. If we can get some volume here and momentum going, and at that point, it probably doesn't stop until $100, honestly. Probably just keeps going. I don't know what that would make the market cap. The market cap would be insanely high at that point, but technicals look fine for that. Cloud looks fine for that. It's above the cloud, bullish cloud. This TK cross may crisscross, bearish to bullish, but it still looks fine for bullish continuation here. It survived potentially falling below the cloud here in Q3 and looks primed for bullishness in Q4. DOT against BTC is more of a range. It is above the 200, but it's also been ranging since January, right? Hasn't really done much against BTC. We'll see what happens in Q4, but I don't have any strong feelings on this one way or the other. It just looks neutral to me at this point in time. Against ETH, it's setting up for bullish 5200 cross. It's setting up for a retest of resistance here at 013 based on volume. And it's kind of done with the bull div nonsense for months and months and months. It's definitely bounced in a pretty decent way here. You could maybe argue for some sort of big inverted head and shoulders with a neckline around 011, whatever that is. But this looks decent against ETH. Just against BTC, it looks rather neutral. Lastly, I'll just mention the ETH-BTC fund and DeFi portfolio. I trade for Techme Capital and Enzyme.finance, a non-custodial portfolio management tool where you can send ETH or USDC, or just watch what I'm doing. You can see everything, including AUM performance, allocation, all the vaults I'm sitting in here, as well as the trades in the trades tab down below. And all this happens in real time. So you can see I just traded out some USDC for BTC and ETH, and then moved some of that USDC into Compound instead of Yearn. On the back end of things, I'm able to see what the yields are for various coins in various platforms. So I can control all that and decide to put stable coins or coins into various places depending on the yield. That's all for this one. Like, dislike, comment, share, subscribe, and happy trading.